I don't typically do videos like this, but over the last few days, I've been getting the same comments, same messages, same emails regarding this topic. And I felt that it's getting to the point that I need to address it because, honestly, there's been just people painting a narrative regarding this channel that has just never been true. And in today's video, I want to discuss that matter with y'all because you may or may not be one of the people commenting it, but game keycards, probably one of the most controversial things with the Nintendo Switch 2. And in today's video, I want to address all the comments that I've been getting about game keycards, the fact that I've been purchasing them, all that type of stuff. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel as we are trying to hit 21,000 subscribers by the end of the month. And we are also been doing videos almost every single day. But let's jump right into, I guess, the controversy, which in all honesty, this is like the stupidest controversial stuff that I would have ever seen happen on this channel. It's just crazy. Let's just get into it. So if you haven't been keeping up with the channel, I uploaded a video right after the Nintendo Switch 2 launch happened to where I was purchasing the games that Nintendo did not have. So I made it into like a whole game hunting video, which this sparked a lot of people into being very upset. And some of those people actually was in the comment section of my unboxing video because I got game keycards there too. But what really sparked this one was the fact that every game I essentially bought was a game keycard. And by the end of that video, I ended up having every single Nintendo Switch 2 game that had been released, which made a lot of people upset once again because of the game keycards. If you look in that video, really, if you look at any of my videos over the last week, it's people being upset about game keycards. They're hating the idea of game keycards, but there's also a lot of comments getting mad at me for buying game keycards, which has honestly been very surprising. I made a post to where I was saying I was doing YouTube full time, and there was comments on there talking about how I purchased game keycards. One of those was actually one talking about how I have betrayed this YouTube channel, saying that I've lost my way because of the Nintendo Switch 2 success, which was absolutely crazy. They painted a narrative that this channel has always been a physical games channel, which I'm sorry to say, this channel has never been a physical games channel. In fact, if you look at this YouTube channel, we have done all sorts of Nintendo videos. The thing that has always been promoted about this YouTube channel is the fact that it is a variety content of Nintendo. If you're looking for game hunting videos, it's there. If you're looking for reviews, it's there. If you're looking for top 10s, it's there. We even did a series where we talk about games to purchase before they go out of print. That's the only thing that I could think of where someone was thinking that this has been a physical games channel. But the thing about that is we haven't been uploading those all the time. I've only had 10 videos of that. We've been doing news videos for the last few months. We've been doing reviews on this channel forever. We have always been the same channel. And it's going to continue being that way where we do variety type of content. But that still has not stopped the game keycard comments. People have been very disappointed in the fact that I am purchasing these. And as I've stated before, I do not like game keycards. It's not something I'm looking forward to purchasing. However, with the type of channel this is and the fact that I do gaming reviews, top 10s, these are videos that happen way more than the other type of content that I've been making on this channel. I'm gonna have to purchase these. I'm gonna have to talk about these games. I don't even know what people want me to do. Do they want me to avoid games completely? That does not make sense. I mean, I have to talk about these games. That's something that we always did with the Switch 1. And it's gonna stay the same for every Nintendo console going forward. And I know I actually talked about this a little bit in my live stream. And one person went ahead and suggested that, hey Max, just buy the games digitally at that point. Which, in that case, I feel like if I went out of my way to buy these games digitally instead of the game keycard, I think that makes matters worse. The game key cards are probably like the last thing that's going to exist before things go fully digital. And I guess you can make the comparison that it is fully digital. However, I feel like if I'm showing the sell numbers that there are interest of game key cards, that will hopefully spark the interest to having physical things still exist, and maybe the game key cards will slowly go away. I feel like if I flat out purchase a game digitally, that I am just messing everything up completely. But once again, I have to do this type of stuff for the type of channel that I have wanted this to be and how it always has been this. I mean, I've even reviewed digital games onto this channel with the Switch 1. So I don't understand why there's so many comments saying that I'm out here betraying the YouTube channel, when it is the exact same thing it has always been. And another thing that it all comes down to is that I see people talk about, hey, it's the third-party developers' fault. They shouldn't be releasing these games like this. And guys, once again, you're kind of wrong on this. And I'm gonna explain this. I've explained this in the news videos before. The people that we should be pinning the blame on is really more Nintendo rather than the third-party companies. If you haven't been following the news, there is only two options that Nintendo is giving developers to release their game on. They have a game key card, or they have a 64 gigabyte cartridge. If you're not aware of the history of cartridge sizes and the expenses of that, then you should probably go back and watch some Switch 1 videos. If you've noticed with the Switch 1, there'll be games out there that are just partly on the card, maybe mostly on it, like a lot of collections, there's like one game on there, and then the rest of it you have to download. All of this comes down to sizes of cartridges. With the Nintendo Switch 1, I believe if I remember correctly, there was 8 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes, and 32 gigabyte options for cartridge sizes. There was only 2 games here in North America actually used the 32 gigabyte cartridge. That was Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and The Witcher 3. And you want to know why those were the only 2 games that utilized a 32 gigabyte cartridge? It was because of expenses. These cartridges are so expensive. We talked about this on the Switch series where we talk about games that you might want to look for before they go out of print. The reason why these games go out of print is because of cartridges. Cartridges are so expensive to produce, especially with how Nintendo does this. Limited Run has explained this many times before, that the reason why they have extra leftover copies for games is because of how Nintendo's policy is that you have to order a lot. You can't order a weird amount. So say that Limited Run has something like a pre-order for, I don't know what games come, Gex. I know that's their big release that they're promoting. Let's say they have 8,600 pre-orders. They have to round that off to either, I don't even think they can do 9,000. I remember the CEO saying that they have to end it off in the 5-figure digits. So it'd be a $10,000 copies of Gex that they have to produce when they only had 8,600 copies pre-ordered. This is why Switch games go out of print. They're more expensive to make than they are something like the PlayStation 5 discs, Series X disc. And so I tell you all of this information regarding the Switch 1 because if you remember what I just said, there's 2 options for the Switch 2 as of right now. Game key card and 64 gigabytes. There's been reports that a 64 gigabyte cartridge can cost over $20. And I don't know what type of purchases that will make depending how much of a bulk purchase you make in this, but at the end of the day, that's still a lot of money for something that's already, the margins are not the greatest on. Not to mention, not every game needs a 64 gigabyte cartridge. Honestly, a majority of the games that come out for the Switch 2 does not need that. And in fact, I'm holding one that definitely does not need 64 gigabytes, and that Sega would be wasting money on this. Puyo Puyo Tetris. Want to see something right here? You see what that says? 4 gigabytes. Guys, if this was on a 64 gigabyte cartridge, they would probably have to make this game like $70, and even then they would still probably be losing money because then people would be mad of the price of the game. I give you this whole history lesson to show you that we really need to pin the hate on Nintendo and have hopefully Nintendo see that people are upset about this and maybe What I'm hoping ends up happening from maybe a year from now, Nintendo will see that the backlash is here and that they'll open more cartridge sizes for developers. Like, for example, the 32 gigabyte cartridge that we just talked about for the Switch 1, that didn't used to be an option. And I'm wondering, as if we get further through the Switch 2 cycle, maybe Nintendo can open up more sizes for developers. There has to be a reason why Nintendo is only giving people 2 options. The only problem is, this honestly doesn't affect Nintendo. Nintendo is always putting their games on cartridge. They have already said that. So they're not going to hear or see the backlash because it's just not going to affect their sales. It may affect their third-party sales, but I don't think they really care about that. In fact, some of the third parties are probably happy about this. At the same time, they're probably annoyed, though, that there's not even smaller cartridge sizes. What it comes down to is that probably 95% of the third-party games coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 are gonna be game keycards because of how Nintendo has things. Once again, I'm not a fan of game keycards, but once again, I'm highly emphasizing this because for some reason, people have thought that this was a physical games channel when this is just a variety of Nintendo content. I love physical games. I mean, look, I have an entire collection of Switch 1 games, but for my job, I'm going to have to play these games, purchase these games, unboxings, reviews, all types of things. And unfortunately, while I don't like the concept of game keycards, I'm gonna have to adapt to that. All I ask is for you guys to not be saying the things that I love game keycards, because there's just so many comments regarding this that it's just low-key annoying, and it's just annoying to see the lies that are being posted surrounding this channel when I obviously love physical media here. It's something that I'm hopeful in a year now changes, and I think there's a possibility it could change, but as of the titles that are coming out for the rest of the year and part of next year, they're just gonna be game keycards. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on this. I have a feeling that this is gonna be a video people don't like, but I want to get my side out there on why I'm purchasing these games and I guess the truth about this channel, which it's crazy for me to say when it's just painted and it's very obvious what this channel is. Especially, again, if you go to the channel, you'll see all the news videos, the reviews, reactions, unboxings, discussions, predictions, all sorts of things. But I hope this addressed everything that people has been saying. I am going to take a nap now because it's been crazy to see the amount of comments I've been getting regarding game keycards. Once again, I'm going to end it on this note. I do not like game keycards. Do not. But with my job, you have to adapt to things that we might just not like. Which, again, as I was saying, if we look at Nintendo's history, this might change in a year from now. Who knows? It doesn't make sense for third-party developers to buy a 64 gigabyte cartridge with how expensive those things are. For example, these indie developers, they're probably going to be releasing on a game keycard. A lot of their games do not need a 64 gigabyte cartridge, and they already have to make their physical copies quote-unquote expensive, so that's why they already fill it with a bunch of just random stuff, stickers, CDs, stuff like that. It's a bad situation. It's not a good situation. Maybe it's not as bad as what we're thinking. I don't know. Game keycards are still horrible, but well, there's just a lot of uncertainty with them at the end of the day. Guys, I have been talking for way too much. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out the Twitter, Instagram, Discord, all that good stuff that's in the description below. Become a Monado Marine, $5 a month. It's our YouTube membership. That's also in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Whew. This might be a video where I just not look at the comments. I don't know. I feel like I'm like setting myself up, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you guys have thought that this channel was something that it wasn't. It never was what people thought, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it was pretty obvious, but I'm sorry if I disappointed y'all. I mean, it was pretty obvious, though, that this was going to happen if you paid attention to the other video. Whatever.